facility the week of December 2nd, 2024. Roadrunners picked up a pair of victories at the Puerto Rico Clasico this last week, taking down UNC Greensboro 62-53 and Towson 71-40. This week, the Roadrunners will host Sam Houston on December 7th with a 1 p.m. tip at the Convocation Center. That's the team's Salute to Educators game. Coach, if you could start us off with an opening statement, then we'll take questions utilizing the raise hands feature.
Happy to be back in San Antonio. It was a very, very, very nice trip. Always appreciative of the administration when they let your group go on a trip like that. That I think is a good experience for everyone, really. The staff, the student athletes. I mean, we had a lot of people that, including myself, that have never been to Puerto Rico. So it was a great atmosphere. Tournament was well done, and I thought our team played with a good amount of energy. It was kind of a long trip, so I was curious to see how we would handle back-to-back games, specifically with Towson not having played before the day before like we did. But I thought our team handled it really well. A sign of a different level of maturity, and I thought we played good in some spurts, and definitely had some things that we can take back this week and work on.
Sean?
Coach, you were able to get a lot of people some playing time. Jordan had some foul trouble early on in the Greensboro game, and then you had a sizable lead in the Towson game. What did you see from getting those players some exposure that maybe hadn't had a chance to get in much?
Yeah, I think this is what non-conference is all about, for sure. I mean, I was a little concerned, really, prior to the trip that we had not had as many opportunities to play some of the young guys and some that maybe didn't play as much last year. So I do think that even as I look back on the Greensboro game, in the moment you kind of forget that Jordan did get her second foul pretty early in the second quarter and didn't play any at all. And I thought that some other players stepped up. It seems like every game there's someone you dial up off the bench that's giving us really good minutes, and right now we don't necessarily have a set rotation because of the young guys. I mean, some of them have better games than others. Sometimes it's matchups, but I do think that I like that we have energy, a different level of athleticism that comes off the bench and is able to give us good minutes.
Jerry?
Yeah, good morning, Coach. I wanted to ask, with the start that you've had at this point of the season, 6-1, and I thought back when I looked at that this morning. I thought back to your first couple of years here. You guys always had a tough go of it in the early going. Even your second team had a tough start. I was wanting to ask, does a start like this allow you to coach your players differently, coach them harder? Maybe at this point, you're winning. You're still trying to correct some things, but do you have do you find yourself able to coach them with a little harder right now than you did maybe in your first couple of years?
I wouldn't necessarily say that I get to coach them any harder. I think that when you have leadership and you have some older players that understand the grind of the season, and they understand that we need to get better in a lot of areas, I think that's what allows you to coach a little bit harder and demand a little bit more, is just leadership. And I think right now our leadership is really good. I think that it's grown every year, as you've witnessed, and now we have some players that have been in the system for a while. They know what the expectations are. They know what their own are. They know what they're striving for, and so I think they're okay being pushed. I think they're comfortable with that, and that allows us to do more. I mean, we have players that are getting up in the morning and meeting coaches at the gym to get shots up. They're staying after. They're in the film room. So I think that they've just embraced maybe just doing a little bit of the extra.
Sean?
Cheyenne Rowe was a player who this weekend put up some pretty good numbers. What have you seen from her, and how do you see her contributing more to your team?
Yeah, I was actually really glad that she benefited from the tournament, just in a sense of getting her confidence where it needs to be. And I say that not thinking that she needs it, because she's really performs really well in practice. And I think what's kind of been the missing piece for her is comfort, comfortability, knowing like exactly sort of what my role is. And I think she's much more comfortable with that. But I also think that she just needs the minutes. I mean, she put the time in this summer, and I think that we're seeing some of the benefits of how much time she put in the gym. And she's right now, in my opinion, what we consider a solid contributor. Somebody that you kind of know what you're going to get from her, and that's mainly because of how she practices. Like, I know that I'm going to get X, Y, Z from Cheyenne, and it might not. Some days it might be more from a production standpoint, but I know she's always going to be prepared.
Vinny?
Hi, Coach.
Hi.
I apologize. I jumped on 7 minutes late. I'm out doing foster kid toy drive stuff. But I wanted to ask you, what did that season opener at A&M tell you about kind of the leap that the program has made, or from the jump after that game? What did that tell you about what has been possible this season and now moving forward with that result being so close?
Yeah, I will tell you, I think we're still mad about it. It was one that I felt like we could have won. And should have is not really the right word for it, but I do think that we could have. And I think the thing that I was probably the most pleased with at the opener was not necessarily the score or that it was close or whatever. It was more the fact that it was a really big crowd, and it was an atmosphere that we had not really seen before. Because it was Education Day and there was 5,000 kids in there, and you couldn't hear. And I thought our composure was really good and our mindset was really good. And I think that that's something that right off the bat I could tell that this group was going to have a little bit of a different mindset to start the season.
Jerry?
Yeah, Coach, I wanted to ask. I was listening to the games in Puerto Rico off the radio. Neil's broadcast was really good, and just wanted to check at the towards the end of towards the end of the Towson game. There was a description of a play. Did Mia fall at the at the end of the game? Did she come out there at the end of the game? Was there an injury, a mishap, or something?
Oh, the floor got a little slippery. There was condensation on the floor, and the more the players sweat, it got a little bit more slick as the game went on. And we had a couple of kids take some pretty hard falls in that game, and Mia took one towards the end of the game, but she's fine.
Is everybody okay?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. And I wanted to also ask, Sienna did not play. I think Neil said on the broadcast that she was feeling under the weather. How's Sienna doing?
Yeah, she's okay. She's still a little bit under the weather, and we'll just kind of it's kind of a day-to-day thing right now. We'll see this week. I mean, we've got some kids that just travel. It was a long travel day yesterday, and we practiced today. So, a couple of them are, I don't know, you catch a little bug. You know how you do when you travel. You catch some colds and things like that. And so there's a couple of them that aren't feeling super great. But I'm glad we have this week. We have the week to get better and work on some things we need to work on. But also it's a tough academic week for them. Again, recovery time is important. So we'll mix a little bit of work with recovery to make sure we're fresh on Saturday. We've got a really good team coming in here Saturday.
Sean?
You've got quite a few games here at home while school has had a session for UTSA. It's Cyber Monday and some good deals to purchase some tickets to see those games. What would be your pitch for why people should come see UTSA basketball games during the holidays?
Well, I think it's a I don't want to say cheap by any means. That's the wrong word for it, because we're not a product that I feel like you could use that word for. But I do think that the Cyber Monday prices that you guys sent out today, and Just the opportunity to bring your family to watch high-level women's basketball. I think that the game on Saturday in particular is going to be really, really good, and we have Arlington coming in here a little bit later in the month, and I just think that this particular team, I mean, first of all, we have a lot of local kids that I hope the local community will come out and support, but also, a couple of seniors that are riding the wave of their senior year and starting off having a really good year. So I think again, I go back to the product. I think that our team is fun to watch, and I think that they deserve to have people in the stands watching them play. So I'm happy about Saturday that we can bring a crowd in here and honor people in the community. I think that's a big thing, is getting us connected with the community, and hopefully it's one of those old sayings that if you come watch us play, then I think you're going to want to come back. And I think our team is one of those that anybody, it seems like, that comes and watches us for the first time, they're like, okay, that wasn't too bad. That was actually kind of fun. Let me come back and watch again. And we really want to try to build our crowds in the next few home games, and then gear up for conference play that starts before we know it. Crazy how fast this has gone by.
What do you know about Sam Houston? You've mentioned it's going to be a great game. What are you looking forward to seeing from them and their personnel and how they'll challenge you?
They play really, really hard. That's the first thing that you have to just get out of the way with your own team. Is that, look, they're going to compete extremely hard. They have gone on to some really good teams' home courts and come really close to winning and are having their own success also. I just think that they create a lot of havoc. They play extremely hard defensively. They force a lot of turnovers. I want to say that maybe average forced in the high 20s. So just a team that it worries you, when they create chaos. And you have to be able to handle their pressure. And then on the flip side of that, they have some players that can really, really get to the basket and score the ball in the paint. So it'll be a really big challenge for us. But I also think it'll be a fun game back to the fans. I think this is one that the community would get out and really enjoy watching.
Gary?
Coach, I wanted to ask you about, I guess, we could talk about point guards every time we do this Zoom call. They played so well this year, but can you talk a little bit about the luxury that affords you to have a couple of dynamic point guards in there to start the game with, and one of them's not bringing up the ball, the other one's getting open, and vice versa, and just the luxury that allows you to have two players like that in your starting lineup?
Well, Jerry, I think it's changed the dynamic of our team. Just having another ball handler that has leadership skills, has a point guard mentality for sure, and then just skills in general, like passing skills. Nina can shoot the three, so she stretches the floor. But on the flip side of that, if you look at the numbers, maybe just the load off of Sid to not carry that responsibility, 40 minutes of a game and every day in practice has really freed her up. And if you go back to the stats, her assist turnover ratio is as good as it's been in her career. And you hope that happens. You hope that a player evolves, if they've been able to play their freshman and sophomore year, by the time they're a junior, their decision making should be pretty good and they should be mature, and that's where Sid is. So I think the biggest thing, Jerry, is we have two mature young women that help lead our team and help free everybody else up to do what their roles are and to be a little more, responsible for their own selves instead of worrying so much. I think that's really allowed freedom for our whole team. And again, decision making, bottom line decision making has been pretty good with this group.
All right, that'll close things out. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. See you Saturday.